Margaret Tone News, take 3. Okay, this is my alien story, and I'm just going to keep it to my alien story. So I listened to the Medical Medium podcast recently about aliens, and then I ended up having a discussion with somebody about some things that she was revealing to me beyond the aliens, and they all made sense. But then I told her that I had an alien story, and she said she wanted to hear my alien story. So, here it is. Thanks for watching Margaret Tone News. So, here we go. So it was about 40 years ago when I had just moved to the city from a small town in Alaska. So we had just moved to Anchorage, the big city. And I was feeling like, wow, there's a lot of people here. Whoa, And so I went to a dream class, and I met a woman there, and she was very interested in me, which was weird because I was not normally popular in any fashion. I felt so bad in high school about how I was treated socially that I would never go back to a family or a high school reunion ever, because they started trying to rope me in as soon as high school was over, and I said, I will never come to a reunion ever. And then I also had, it was just, let's just say, socially, it was a no-go for me. So it was very weird when this woman comes up to me and says, oh, hey, you want to go to tea? Like I was somehow worthy all of a sudden after my entire life of being rejected. I was like, and part of it is because I don't smoke, I don't drink. Well, back then I was trying to drink, but it didn't work. Most people, they drink and they get sick later, or I would get sick immediately. So it was just not going to work. So anyways, I just never fit in anywhere. And I do talk about that in my other video about my sitting with Eileen Davies. So she kind of verified that for me, which was nice. I wish it wasn't that way, but so I met this woman in the dream class. This was 40 years ago, and she says to me, oh, would you like to come and have tea with me? And I was like, me? Okay. So we went to tea, and she was, talking to me, and she was very interested in me, very curious about me, which was I had never experienced that in my life. In fact, even I remember in grade school, kids wouldn't invite me to their birthday parties. Yeah, I was frequently shunned, bullied, a lot of it. You just have to realize this is a broken society, so things happen that aren't supposed to happen. So needless to say, I was very surprised that she was even interested in being my friend. So we just sipped tea together, and she was very curious about, what kind of tea did I like? Very curious about me. And I was like, okay. So, then she says, oh, well, would you like to come to my house for dinner? And I said, wow, thanks, okay. She said, well, what do you like to eat? I said, well, I like tacos and spaghetti. So she made tacos. I went to her house, and during the meal, I always use way too many napkins. I don't know why, but my hands would always just get so covered in juice. I guess I was enthusiastic about whatever I was eating. And she looks over at me and she goes, oh, you use a lot of napkins? I use a lot of napkins too. And I was like, kind of feel like I'm being studied here, but okay. So, and then she started telling me, in our conversations, she would say, Well, I have a mother in space, and she said she was a hybrid. And I was like, huh, okay. And then she also said that she had babies in space, and that she would go up into space and visit her babies or her mother in the spaceship, and then she would come back down. And I was like, okay. Whatever, man. I was like, okay. I kind of hoped that she would just move on from that conversation, not really have to talk about that again. But eventually she would circle around and come back to the point, and I'd be like, oh God, this again? I wasn't interested. But I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So anyways, so she says, have you ever seen the X-Files? And I said, what? What? The X-Files? I said, no. She goes, oh, it's a TV show about aliens. I was like, oh, that again. So she also told me that aliens always had good jobs. She had a great job at the bank. And she said, I have a good job at the bank because I'm part alien. And aliens get the best jobs because we have to have, the best for ourselves. So we always make sure that each other is covered and has the best jobs. We take all the best for ourselves. And I thought, wow, thanks. Where does that leave me? So, what else did she say? She said, one day, I'm going to go to work and I'm not going to come home. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Don't worry. This is a very imperfect channel, so if you're looking for perfection, move along. Anyway, so she says to me, when I go to work, I won't come home because I'm going to go into the spaceship and I'm going to stay there forever and I'm never coming home. And my husband is never going to know what happened to me. And I was like, okay. And then one day, for some strange reason, I was in her house and I just felt compelled. I don't know why I asked her this, but we were in her meditation room and we were sitting together Indian style, like cross-legged, looking at each other, like sitting on the floor. And we were looking at each other and I said to her, now mind you, I don't know why I asked her this. I don't know. But I said to her, I have no idea what you're talking about with this stuff, so can you please show me? I don't know why I even asked her that, but all of a sudden, after I asked her that, her eyes changed a lot, dramatically. I mean, it was shocking. So, she was just sitting there looking at me, and then all of a sudden, the rest of her face stayed the same, but just her eyes they went from regular human eyes, and then it just went psh, super fast, just poof, and they were black, these huge black eyes. There was nothing else but black. It was all black, completely black. There was no, regular eyes, you have the white part, and then you have the iris, that's just the color, and then the pupil. Nope. Her eyes were just pure black. Just like the alien eyes on the back of a bumper sticker, on the back of a car on a bumper sticker. And I just thought, oh my God, I just wanted to ask it a question. I didn't know what question I wanted to say, but I wanted to ask that thing a question. But I was like, don't you dare, Margie. Don't you ask that thing a question. No way, Jose. We're just going to sit right here and not ask it anything. Act normal. Everything's fine. Because I was like, I didn't know if it was going to suddenly grow a tongue and snap my head off with it. I didn't know. I was like, I'm in this thing's territory, in this thing's house. Yeah. if I had made the wrong move, I could have been doomed, and I had no idea what its intentions were. And of course, I'm not going to say, hey, by the way, is this the part where you eat me? So I just played it cool. I didn't know what to do. I was already doomed at that point. So at some point, I don't know when, but we just, were walking around in her meditation room again. I wish I could remember the end part where her eyes stopped looking like that, but I don't. That's a little fuzzy. So we were walking around in her meditation room afterwards, and I was just playing it super cool, like, yeah, man, it's all good. I mean, I didn't know that phrase back then. It's all good. I know. Whenever I first heard that, it's all good, I was like, what does that mean? It took me years to figure out what it means, and now I'm still like, what does that mean? I have no idea. Anyways, so I was walking around, and I said to her, boy, I sure do love your painting on the wall. It's so beautiful. I mean, what else am I going to say? Am I going to run in terror so then she can start chasing me? No. So we were walking, I walked down the hall and said, I like your paintings, it's compliments galore, Maybe she saw through me, I don't know. So I kind of meandered towards the door. Well, I guess it's time for me to get going. If she's even going to let me leave, I'm thinking. So she walked me out to the car. I was sitting in the car, and I said, well, bye. So, I drove away, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I could have been up in space. I just, like, the thought of me being stuck in space, having babies on a spaceship was just terrifying. That's all I could think of on the way home. I thought, oh my God, I made it out alive, and I'm not up in a spaceship, never seeing nature again. Living in Alaska, and you can't live without nature. I have a friend in Seattle, and she's like, I want you to visit me every weekend. I was like, I couldn't come here every weekend. I'd go crazy. Because there's no nature there. I mean, there's the sunshine, but not in the middle of the city. That would be awful. So anyways, she called me a week later, and she says, hey, would you like to come over for dinner again? And I felt so guilty, because I couldn't tell if she was really trying to be my friend, or if she was trying to recruit me to have babies in space, or if she was going to eat me. I had no clue. She was definitely studying me, though. She was, like, taking notes. Oh, you use a lot of napkins? So you like lemon tea? Okay. I was like, wow. I felt like I was in that movie Groundhog Day. But, I mean, they didn't have that movie back then, but you know what I mean. So, anyway, I felt very guilty. I told her that I was super busy and my calendar was super full. I had absolutely nothing to do. I was new in town and I didn't know anyone. I had no job. I had nothing. I could have used a really nice friend, but at what price? I mean, really, it was just too scary to even think of the possibilities. So I did always feel guilty, and I never told anyone her name, because I thought, in case she was trying to be my friend, the least I can do is just not reveal her secret and tell everyone what she is. She did work at a bank, and I saw her about 5 or 6 years later in the bank, and she said, oh, hi, She really wanted to glom on again. I was like, oh, gosh, I gotta get going. I'm really busy. Same old I'm too busy for you story, which, of course, I then felt guilty again. But I thought, I have to preserve my own life. I have no idea what this thing's intentions are. She said she was a hybrid and that she's having babies in space. She has a mother in space. I think she said I had a mother in space. Did she say that? I don't know. It was all too bizarre for me. I was like, I just... yeah. So, that's my story. And I'm not You know, I'm not trying to, I don't know. That story doesn't define me in any fashion. I have a lot of other things in my life. See, I'm telling the same spin again. Yeah, it's no big deal. It was weird, though. It was really weird. Something that I never forgot. Yeah, it was an unforgettable experience. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching Margaret Tone News and letting me share my story. I will allow all wonderful comments. Anybody who's going to be a total nincompoop and leave a rude comment, I'm just going to delete it. I did get a rude comment on my Ada Cardano video that I made, and I did address it. I didn't erase it. But I got a lot of people harassing me from that video. But I don't respond to that kind of harassing behavior, so, you know, hopefully nothing bad will happen to me for telling my story. So there it is. Hopefully it nourishes your soul to learn about my story somehow. And I don't know. There it is. So thanks for watching Margaret Tone News. Thank you so much.